Hi there, my name's Locke Vincent, and thanks for joining me. Whether you're here on purpose or you stumbled in from the cold, I'm glad you're here. Grab a seat, have a drink, and let's go on a journey and explore what I thought were the best games of 2014. Let's go. Alright, so The Binding of Isaac Rebirth was an interesting title because I really didn't get into the first one back in 2011. I think it had something to do with being on the PlayStation Vita, grabbing it, picking it up and playing it, doing a run, and then putting it down after. Or, in most cases, I'd be sitting there under my covers like a kid, playing and playing until I finished a boss off. But this game is the ideal roguelike for me. It's got the perfect blend of skill and luck. You've got the skill-based shooting and sort of dodging enemies and doing the combat pretty well, but then you also have the luck of the drops you get for that run. And I think Edmund McMillen is a genius designer. He does awesome work melding the dark undertones with a really cool art style, and the music and the sound is perfect for this game. So yeah, I really didn't get into the first one all that much, but man, Rebirth I played the hell out of, and it essentially turned my Vita into a Binding of Isaac machine. So Binding of Isaac on my list for 2014. It's not for everyone, but I thought it was an awesome game. Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U is a fun game, and Nintendo just knows how to do this game properly with the fan service. It has so many things you can do, so many game modes, whether you're playing solo or playing with friends, playing online. It has so many unlocks, and you can just keep playing this forever and being able to get different figurines and stickers and moves. And really, in this new one, they have a cool system that I enjoy where you can change the moves of a character. I thought that was really novel. And even though it's small little tweaks, someone's Bowser is going to be playing differently than my Bowser, which I thought was really cool. Didn't play the 3DS version because this is where it's for me on the Wii U. I want to be able to sit beside someone, you know, throw in a couple punches while they beat me in Smash Bros. Wii. So that's why Smash Bros. Wii is on my list for 2014. Fun ass game. You're gonna have a lot of fun whether you are good at it or bad at it. It doesn't matter. Grab it. It's a fun game. It's always difficult for me to figure out which old school RPG is gonna go on my list. Playing games like Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale, Fallout. As a kid, I have a special soft spot in my heart for those types of games. So when Wasteland 2 came out with inXile's, successful Kickstarter, I was super stoked because it turned out really well, and it's all about crafting your own story and doing it your own way. And not like a Paragon system where you are choosing good or evil. Like every choice is kind of gonna lead to bad consequences. Wasteland 2 does some really cool things because you can create a party from scratch, you can use pre-made guys. I like being able to just roll around and role play with certain different characters because they all react differently to the NPCs in the game. It's got a ton of content in there, like over 40 hours of missions and story to do, and just a wasteland to explore. And, you would think that it's desolate, but there's tons of stuff to do in there. So Wasteland 2, it's an awesome RPG and definitely one of the best this year. So that's why it's on my list for 2014. Lord of the Rings doesn't have a great track record when it comes to video games, but Shadow of Mordor changed all that. It's a decent open world game. It's got an awesome stealth system. It's got an okay combat system, ripping that off from Batman. Nothing wrong with that. It's a good system to use. But really what put this over the edge for me is the Nemesis system. Taking the orc captains and war chiefs and manipulating them, fighting them, and having them run as their own little AI in the background was such a cool thing. It made the world living and breathing, and you would just encounter these guys in the wilderness, and 3 or 4 would show up, and they'd all know your name and know that you either hurt them or they hurt you, and integrating death into the cycle of this whole mad cog system, it was great. But the Nemesis system needs to be ripped off and pulled and copied until we're sick of it because it's awesome. And I loved it. And that's why I loved Shadow of Mordor for 2014. another Wii U title coming to you in the form of Mario Kart 8. Once again, Nintendo knows how to do it, man. You put me on a couch with a couple of my friends, we are playing Mario Kart just like we did, 10, 15 years ago. It's unreal how this franchise has just gotten better with time. And it's funny because, Mario Kart, the first, Mario Kart and Mario Kart 64 were up here. Then we had a little dip, and then you run into Mario Kart for the Wii U. Mario Kart 8, it's back, baby. It is back. The quality is back, and the tracks are there, the cast is there. The old tracks that they've revitalized, the new tracks that they've put in, they've got an amazing DLC that you can get, just basically doubles the amount of tracks you have. There's so much in there for you to play, and it is the best Mario Kart since, I'd say, 64. And I don't say that lightly because I'm a huge Mario Kart fan, so it's just a fun-ass game. Really, Mario Kart is so good, and you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you didn't pick this up for the Wii U. So go get it, go race, have some fun, throw some shells, and just watch out for those blue ones. It's funny to think when you reboot a game 2, 3, 4 times that it gets a little long in the tooth, but Wolfenstein: The New Order, man, that game, it did something else. And really, it's not the shooter that you think it is. It's not this campy sort of Call of Duty Battlefield shooter. It's a really well-crafted story, and we don't really see that in first-person shooters anymore. The closest thing is maybe Halo, and even that is like a space opera. Wolfenstein it's not super grounded because you're doing some crazy stuff. I like how they implement some mysticism, and we saw that in the last game, but they do it so well in this one. And Wolfenstein: The New Order, it's so surprising, but it does what it sets out to do. There's no, forced co-op, no multiplayer. It's just a great story. It's a great shooter, and you need to play it because it's something that is gonna fly under everyone's radar because we have all these other big shooters out there. But really, I'd go back and check this one out because even though it's not, this big, huge AAA title, it plays like one, and it has the production quality of that. So it really hit me hard when I was going through. Some of the story beats are just so powerful. So Wolfenstein: The New Order, hitting the list for 2014. When you think of retro games in 2014, the one that hits me the hardest is Shovel Knight. It is just playing to my childhood with Mega Man and Castlevania. They mixed in some Dark Souls stuff with the collecting your loot when you die, and I thought that was a nice modernization of this style of game. But what are we getting down to here? We've got tight controls, great combat, unique levels, awesome bosses, new powers in every level, great writing, and a banging soundtrack to back all of this up. Shovel Knight is the craziest, platformer that you're going to play this year, and I think it's super well put together. And that's rare these days. Like, we saw it with Mega Man 9 and 10, and that was Capcom doing that stuff. So a new IP, new developer putting in a game of this production value is unreal. So Shovel Knight, one of the best games in 2014. If you want a guaranteed spot on my list, you just ask Supergiant Games to put out a game, and there you have it. We had Bastion a couple years ago, but now Transistor, again, they knocked it out of the park. They have a well-crafted story, this cool cyberpunk theme going on, cool characters, but with that, you have an awesome combat experience. Like, the gameplay in Supergiant Games blended with this amazing story. It's just, I can't stress enough how important that is. A lot of games focus on story, a lot of games focus on action, but to have the nice blend of the two is just amazing. So with Transistor, the theme I love, the characters were really interesting, and having, Logan Cunningham throw his dulcet tones for the narrator, I thought was a good way to do it. The pseudo turn-based strategy action was really cool, and having these instances of combat were awesome. Being able to construct your powers however you wanted, compounding powers on top of each other. Again, I think you got to play Transistor because it's something different. There's nothing out there like it. And again, people are going to complain that it plays just like Bastion, but it's totally different. Of course, they're going to have some same things, but I think that's really cool across the Supergiant lineup. You have an awesome art style by Gen Z, and then, you know, why wouldn't you use Logan Cunningham for the voice? And then, of course, the rest of the team just killing it with Greg Kasavin and Amir. They're a great team, and I love their games. And Transistor is no joke, you guys. It's so good, and I love it, and that's why it's on my 2014 list. Bayonetta 2 wouldn't have happened without Nintendo saving it. And if you would have told me that they were going to make a game crazier than Bayonetta 1, I wouldn't have believed you. No. But Bayonetta 2 is insane. And again, it's a game-ass game. It might be the most gamey-ass game on this list because you have character action, spot on. I don't need to go into that. The witch timer, everything you're doing is just mind-boggling. You are running up skyscrapers, you are fighting dragons, you're using your hair, turning into monsters, and thrown in there are these tiny little hints and nods to other games, which I love, and it changes the pace so well, you never get bored of Bayonetta. I don't S-rank everything, but I love playing these levels over and over again just to see how I can change up my weapons and do combos differently. And for people that are intimidated to get into character action games like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta, just go in. You don't have to do S-ranks, just learn a couple combos or just mash the button and learn to dodge. Learn to dodge in these games and you'll be fine. And you just need to see what Bayonetta can do with her arsenal of hair weapons. It's unreal. Putting weapons on your feet and your hands, and it's crazy. It's crazy. Nintendo put out Bayonetta 2. It's nuts. Platinum Games on fire as always. Bayonetta 2 hitting high on the list for 2014. Dark Souls 2 came out this year. It was a great mix between Dark Souls, the exploration and that sort of thing, and Demon Souls, where you have very specific levels that you can warp to. And I thought that the warp system was great because it allowed you to explore quicker, and it might not have had the same effect of finding shortcuts that lead back to the very beginning of the game and that sort of thing. And the exploration was still there because you had these just very different environments, and it was fun to go through them. And even though they weren't these long looping paths, going down those long straight paths for a certain level, that's still fun. I still enjoyed it. Again, the combat is so fair, the game is so fair, and when you know, I don't even like talking about difficulty in Dark Souls games anymore because if you mess up, it's your fault. And the game is hard and has some issues. It's not a perfect game by any means, but man, being able to play it totally differently between two people is awesome. I love going in with friends. One of us plays, you know, a fast, quick, you know, DPS guy or, you know, thief, or another plays a big paladin that shoots lightning bolts, or a wizard, whatever. It's just so fun exploring this world, and the formula just gets me. I enjoy it. I like going through these levels and not knowing anything, and by the end of it, knowing a little bit. And that craving of knowledge for this world that From Software does, I just want to go and explore more because it's so fun. And once you learn where the enemies are and the patterns, it's not that bad. It's more of a playground for you to play in. And I like playing Dark Souls 2 so much that I played it, I don't know, half a dozen times, which is crazy. And then on top of that, they added some great DLC, which is going to hit next year in a big pack. I forget what it's called, but yeah, the DLC is solid, and we don't see that often enough, where every single, you know, when you buy a season's pass, maybe one's decent. Dark Souls 2, Crown of the Ivory King, Fire King, I forget all of them, but the 3 DLCs, just unreal. So, Dark Souls 2, awesome game for 2014. Again, not for everyone, but it was for me. All right, so that about does it for my best games of 2014. Thank you so much for joining me. Really appreciate you stopping by. I love hearing what games people played because I didn't play everything. There's some things missing on my list, and we'll get into that with another video. But let me know in the comments, shoot me some messages, and I want to hear what people's, you don't have to do your top 10, maybe do your top 5, your top 3. Let me know, because I'm always interested, and I love checking out games that I missed. And please, again, thank you so much for all the support. I love when people interact on the videos and check out the site, and just, I love doing this. And I like telling people about my experience with games, because I think it's a cool art form, it's a cool hobby that we have, and you know what, it's a good way to explore the medium together, is by talking about them, and by, a game might speak to you in one way where another person might not get it, and it's fun to not necessarily argue about that, but really just talk about it and have a chat, and maybe you'll learn something. So thanks again for watching my Game of the Year list, and we'll see you in the new year. Peace.